A few public announcements before we start this video. Number one, I would like to thank John the Plow Guy up there in Canada, somewhere, Ontario. I don't know, it all runs together to me, being from the States. But anyhow, I would like to give a shout out to his channel. Say, John, thank you for your support. Thank you for everything you've done. People, go over and watch John's channel, the Plow Guys. I think it's him and Josh, I don't know, you can go over, but John's the one that I usually kibitz with, so take a gander, go over there and take a gander and see what his channel's all about. I think you'll enjoy it. And the next shout out I'd like to give is to my significant other's cooking channel, Helgas Pennsylvania Cooking. I sort of inspired her to do that, and I guess I told her to go ahead and do it. But she has a cooking channel. If you like cooking, check it out, Helgas Pennsylvania Cooking. If you don't like cooking, hey, check it out anyhow. Maybe you'll find some kind of other entertainment. There's some stuff about her vast animals and everything she takes care of on the farm to what she grows to make here at home to eat. So give her a look-see too. Helgas Pennsylvania Cooking. And I get support from all kinds of channels, but these are just some that I got stickers from. Whoever I forget, I'm sorry. But we have Scanner Danner up there, and Thomas Exovcds, I think is the way it is. South Main Auto sticker, Badgertronix, and also over here we got another SMA and Thomas's XVDOS. I'll put links down below in case I'm not saying them right. So what I want to say is thank you for listening to my public service announcements. They are now over, so let's continue with the video. Hey folks, it's your favorite 98%er on YouTube, Mike the Disgruntled Mechanic. Today what we have is we have Lady Disgruntled Mechanics / aka Helgas Pennsylvania Cooking Channel's vehicle in here to put a left front wheel hub in it. We got some wheel play in it. It's making a little bit of noise. It needs to be fixed. So that's today's project. So come on along as we go and do that job. Oh, we'll see what the brakes look like in here. This thing was eating brakes too. And it looks like it might have had another pair for lunch. Yeah. I don't know why this thing goes through brakes so quickly, but it does. Looks like it's about due for another set. So we might be doing that too while we're changing them out here. But let's go for the job at hand first. We'll want to take our brake caliper off here, take these bolts out, take the brake caliper out, and then after that we'll work on taking this holder off. But yeah, we're going to replace brakes because it's only a matter of time here. So let me get the correct tools and we'll take this caliper off. We'll take this caliper off and then we'll take the caliper holder off. Take the Astro up here, see if we can get this caliper out. Whee! Yeah, baby. Number one. Okay. Make sure your bolts are the same size, which they are. Actually, what I may do is take and should have squozed this back a bit. So let me put these back in loosely, and I'll get my little pry bar out, and we'll squeeze the brake pads back in the calipers. A big screwdriver will work too. Alright, we'll take this off and I'm going to go get something to hang this caliper up with, because you never want to let the caliper just dangle. Dangling's a bad thing. So let's get this caliper hung up out of the way. Back one doesn't look too bad. It's got some, but this here one doesn't look too good. Yeah, we'll have to. I think we might have caught that just in time before it got to metal, because baby, it's close. It's not sliding too good on the hardware either, so when we get new hardware, yeah, we're I think we just barely made that. Alright, so let's get these back, and we'll take our caliper holder off. Okay, they're the same size as what we were working on, so I just get a bigger tool, because no use beating the piss out of that thing. That made a difference. Now I'll have to tap the rotor here, because it looks like she's on there pretty good. Might even get a little weasel piss here to put on her. We'll clean that off with brake cleaner. I'm not too worried about that. I put in my hearing protection, and I take my hammer here on my air gun, and I bang around this to loosen all that up. Normally that works pretty dang well. Like I said, with this rust around here, it's terrible. As you saw, folks, that seemed to work pretty good. We now have the rotor off, so let's take the axle nut off. Just make sure you get the appropriate size sockets for the job you want to do. I think I'm going to squirt a little goody juice on there, because it's coming off there pretty hard. I know it's sort of a lock nut too, but with that rust, it's not making life any easier. Should be a smoking coming out of the gate. So now you want to make sure that your CV axle is loose out of your hub. And what I'm going to do is put the nut back on. I like to do that so I don't booger up the threads there. And I may get a different hammer. I'm just going to tap on this. You don't want to really smack too hard, because you don't want to force your whole CV axle back in. So let's just get a hammer and tap on this. And probably I'm going to have to tap a little harder because probably stuff's rusted. I'm going to stop at that. It looks like it's moving some, so I think I'm going to be able to live with that. We'll find out, I guess. So now you have 3 bolts on the back of this assembly. So basically we're going to get in there and get at those 3 and take those out. We got the axle nut off. We got the bolts out. I had to work on the one over here on the far side a little bit, but you know, and I can bring you in here and see. But I mean, if you look behind here, it's pretty self-explanatory. There's 3 bolts here you got to take out. So now what I got to do is get this wheel hub out of here. It looks like it may be a pain in the butt, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that same hammer that I had, and I'm going to try and hammer it out this way from behind, and hammer around the sides with it. So I'm going to put my earplugs in, and I'm going to do that. The one thing too is your wheel sensor is back behind here. I guess I can get in and get a picture, but you know, it's just a regular clip that you have to unclip, and you want to make sure that you take that off, and because that'll come out with your wheel hub assembly. So pretty hard to show, but it's a white clip down here with my finger, so I'm just going to get the screwdriver and pry that clip up, and then that connector will come apart. So that's all I'm going to do down here, and then I'm going to work on getting the wheel hub off itself. I think you can hear her. She's a little noisy. But she's out. And the sensor was actually clipped on, I think, here. So you want to make sure that you get this back on properly when you go to put it back on, so you can clip everything back together. So now we'll get the other assembly and put it in. Looks like we got part of it here, just the metal outside, so we'll see if we can get that out of there. There we go. Alright, now we got it all out. I'm going to clean up inside here and clean this face up a little bit. get the cookie wheel out and try to do it, because that's pretty nasty in there from all the salt and everything. Yeah, I know it's a surprise, but from all the salt and everything we get in this area. So let me do that next. So next thing you want to do is just match them up out on the workbench after you take them out. Make sure they look the same. I looked them over, they look the same. I just wanted to bring them over here and make sure that you know, you pay mind to go ahead and do that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go get a little bit of spray grease and spray grease up over there and get ready to throw this brand new wheel bearing hub back in. I'm just going to put a little spray grease on the back of the hub and then throw our hub in. We'll throw this on first, our piece here. Let me clean that up a little bit. There's a little bit more gunk on there than what I thought. So let me clean this up. And so all I'm going to do is use some brake clean and clean it up, and then I'll be back to put this all together. So you want to make sure you get this on right, which that goes back. This part here will go back because that's where your sensor will go on. So that's the way that'll go on. I got some grease on the back of my hub, so let's put the hub back on, and you want to make sure you get your sensor down on the bottom here. You want to line it up so you get your sensor at the bottom. Try and get all this lined up. Get your spline started. Just make sure you get that on there, that's for sure. Alright, let's take one of the easier ones. Well, we got one started. And the only thing I want to mention is I got all three started now. None of them are tight. But one of the things that I like to make sure that I do is I'm a firm believer in starting them by hand and getting them in a couple threads so that you know that everything is going in there and start it and not going to strip. So that's all I'm going to do is I'm going to tighten up these three bolts, and then after I do that I'll be back. The only other thing is make sure that you once you get it tightened up, I'm not going to come back here, put that little connector back on this plate and make sure you hook your connector back up. One thing you want to do is you want to make sure that you go to your book and tighten all this to factory specs. That's something that you can look up on your own, but we'll get this done. We're going to put our axle nut on, tighten that up to factory specs, and then you know, here's your, put your axle nut back on. We'll tighten that up to factory specs, and then we'll reassemble this as far as we can, because the next thing I'm going to have to do is go and get brakes. So I'm going to tighten this axle nut up with the impact. Then after I tighten it up with the impact so far, then you're going to want to get out your book or go look and do it to factory specs as appropriate. So what I'm going to do next is put on my rotor. I'm going to put a little spray grease inside here too. I don't think I'm the guy who's going to have to redo this, but just to make life a little easier, and it's not going to hurt anything, we're going to put a little sprue grease on there before we put our rotor on. We're going to hit our rotor with a little bit of brake clean. There's that. So now we'll put one of these on to sort of try and help hold this. Now we're going to put on our caliper holder, put the bolts in for that, put them up to factory specs, and folks, I'm going to stop this one here. The main thing was to do this wheel bearing hub, and we got that back in there. So the next thing will be to put the brakes on, and I got to get new brakes and new hardware for this. So I'm going to do that, and we'll close this one here. Okay, so there you have it. That's changing a wheel hub bearing assembly on a 2001 Buick Century Custom, and I'm sure other GMs. Still got my tools out. Been a long day. I had to go get the brake pads to put them on, and then I decided I had the other wheel bearing here. I did both sides, placed brakes on both sides, rotated the tires. So now it's time to hammer down a brewski. This isn't my favorite, it's just what I grabbed out of my cooler, unfortunately, but we'll live with it. Took the car for a ride. The noise that I had's gone, which is a good thing. So we'll wrap this one up. And once again, this is your favorite 98%er on YouTube, Mike the Disgruntled Mechanic. And remember, like I always say, if you can get somebody else to do it, you're probably better off. Thanks. Till next time. Hey, if you think about it, thumbs up, subscribe. Thanks. It was nice having you along. See ya.